Hello, everyone. My name is Benedict Chan. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Religion and Philosophy at Hong Kong Baptist University. Today, I would like to talk about some philosophical and ethical issues that are related to the situation in Hong Kong. As many of you know, Hong Kong people has fight for freedom and democracy for many years already. For example, in 2014, we have umbrella movement, and since last year, we have something more people coming out for protests, and then we now have the so-called five demands. Okay, starting from the withdrawal of extradition bill, and then there are some other demands. But deep down, and mainly, it is about freedom and democracy in Hong Kong. And when we are talking about the freedom, I find that there are many philosophical concepts that are quite related to our situations. For example, the famous two concepts of liberties, negative freedom or positive freedom, especially the negative liberties that is related to our situation now, because deep down we are talking about whether we should allow there are so many coercion force from the government, or where should we draw the line, and whether we should have more negative freedom or something like that. That is one thing that we are facing in Hong Kong nowadays. And another example can be drawn from J.S. Mill's famous book on liberties, especially on in chapter 2. J.S. Mill has talked about the importance of freedom of speech. Some people try to divide that paragraph into four different kinds of arguments, mainly talking about um, if some other people are talking something true or partly true or even totally wrong or false, should we allow them to have the freedom to talk about that? And we should, because or we here means the government should allow different kind of voice. Otherwise, there will be a dead dogma about the true and so on. Um, this kind of concept is very related to Hong Kong nowadays, okay, because we are facing the government trying to cover a lot of truth for one thing, and they don't allow the people. Seems they are trying to do a lot of things to stop people from talking about different things about the political issues in Hong Kong. And one of them is about democracy. Um, that is not, well, of course, we are talking about democracy in Hong Kong, but that can also be related to democracy in China as well. Some people in the past believe that um, Chinese people or the so-called East Asian people have other kind of ideas, and that's why they don't talk about democracy. But actually, in philosophy, it is not totally true. At least there's debatable. For example, even back in 1958, there was a manifesto to talk about Chinese culture from some contemporary neo-Confucians. Um, and they believe that democracy and Confucianism is not only compatible, but they are actually we need democracy to fulfill some kind of virtues in Confucianism. And nowadays, when we are talking about democracy in Hong Kong or maybe in China, um, one of the problem is some people now believe that the China model can be an alternative to democracy. And if they are thinking in this way, and if their theory is actually true, then maybe the China model is not only for China, it can be for the whole world. But deep down, it may be about the differences between popular sovereignties, whether we believe the power is in the hand of people, or it should be only a power for some limited people. Okay, maybe someone who is very wise, or in meritocracy, they believe that some people who are full of wisdom should rule the government, or even some dictator. Okay, that there will be authoritarianism. So deep down, it is about that. And I would say in Hong Kong, we are facing that kind of problems. Okay, for one thing is whether we have a freedom, that is whether we allow the government to have enough cohesion force to force people to do a lot of to not to allow us to do something, and also about democracy, that whether the power should be um, in people's hand, or actually is authoritarianism. So this is something that we are facing nowadays. So thank you for watching this video.